Here we go, everyone. The Chicago Bears have won 5 games in a row now, and they're winners of 9 of their last 10 games. Uh, I can't believe it. I'm sure a lot of you can't either. Welcome to Wrap It Up with Jacob Infante. I am Jacob Infante, the one, the only, the hideously grotesque. Uh, and the Bears extended their winning streak. It's now 5 games in a row. They headed into Philadelphia as the 7-point underdogs here on Black Friday, and then they ended up winning by 9. So uh, it's exciting times. The Bears are now 9-3. That's going to be the first time since 2018 that they finished with a winning season. So got to feel pretty good about that. So we're gonna break it all down. For those of you just joining live on the live stream on my Twitter account, on the Second City Gridiron YouTube channel or the Facebook page, welcome. Appreciate you guys coming in. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Feel free to share any comments if you're watching live. If not, if there's anything that you feel like you're gonna miss, you can rewatch it later anywhere you get your podcast on the Second City Gridiron podcast channel. So, I guess we'll start with the run game, man. Start with the run game. I think that's probably the best place that you could end up. The best thing that you could take away from this game is just how good the run game was. Both DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai finished with over 100 rushing yards. I mean, it's the first time since 1985 that they've had two backs with over 100 yards in the same game. I mean, that's literally, it was since Walter Payton and Matt Suhey against the Lions in November of 1985 was the last time that the Bears have had two backs go for 100 yards. Monangai, 22 carries, 130 yards, and a touchdown. DeAndre Swift, 18 carries, 125 yards, and a touchdown. Got to feel pretty good about that, just naturally. I mean, it was thoroughly a stomping in the trenches. The Bears offensive line just utterly dominated the Eagles defensive line. I mean, it was impressive to watch, to see how effective the offensive lineman was, because the offensive line was, you could see the linemen had a good understanding of what their assignments were, whether it was, I know Ben Johnson leans a little heavier on zone than he does gap, but whether it was a zone run or a gap run, you understand what your assignments are. You understand the angles that you need to take as a run blocker. And it showed up everywhere, literally. And the running backs deserve a lot of credit. The offensive line deserves a lot of credit. Dan Bouchard, the Bears offensive line coach, deserves a lot of credit, and Ben Johnson as well. I mean, that's probably the biggest reason the Bears won today, is just how good their run game was. And some of the live comments that are coming in, Caleb Williams' daddy says, credit to Poles for drafting Monangai. What a stud, man. I'm with you. I think that he didn't have he didn't have any reason to fall into the 7th round, in my opinion. I mean, I know it was a deep running back class. I still had him as a 5th rounder. And he's even exceeded my expectations since then. And I said that if there's any late round pick that could be that could be the next Bucky Irving as far as like a breakout late round running back to be productive, it was Monangai. But I didn't think that he'd be this efficient so quickly out of the gate. I mean, and I think Monangai and Swift complement each other really, really well. Obviously, you have DeAndre Swift, who's a little bit better in those wide zone situations. He can run outside of the tackles, or he can run when the offensive line are moving in front of him and generating that, and you're scheming that movement up front by having the offensive linemen, as down blockers or reach blockers. Uh, and then Monangai's just the guy who can run it up the middle. I mean, it's a really good compliment what the Bears have right now. Uh, James 2024 says, dude, what do we even call Monangai and Swift? I don't know. I mean, I kind of like Mordecai and Rigby as like the, kind of tandem sort of deal. I don't remember who said that initially, but I've seen that floated around a little bit. I had one that was the a little bit Sonic related. Some people didn't like it because, the Lions have Knuckles and Sonic, whatever. It was just an excuse for me to talk about Sonic X, which, if you guys don't remember that show on God, what was it? Like ABC cartoons Saturday mornings in like the 2000s. I mean, it was gas. It was gas. Sonic X is a good show, but it's too niche of a reference. Mordecai and Rigby, I guess. If anyone's got any ideas, feel free to shout them off in the comments. If you're listening after the fact, make sure to let me know. I'll respond to every one of you in the wee hours of the morning. Uh, but yeah, Derek in the Twitter chat says, "How about Swift and Bayard bullying their former team?" I think that it was a really good revenge game for both of those guys, truly. And we talked about Swift, just how effective he was in between the tackles, running the ball. They're giving him open running lanes to work with, and I think that Swift has gotten a little bit better at identifying those open lanes. And when they're that open, when the opportunities are that obvious, I mean, he's able to get the job done for sure. So uh, he was impressive today. Kevin Byard was impressive as well. He had an interception. He's now in sole possession for first place in the NFL with 6 interceptions, which is nuts. Uh, I mean, he entered the league in 2016. This is what his 10th year in the NFL, and he's playing as good a football as he ever has. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler. He's an All Pro. Like, you need to start talking about him in that light if you aren't already. I mean, a lot of Bears fans already are, but I think nationally, if you're not paying attention to Kevin Byard and the resurgence he's having with Dennis Allen, with Al Harris as the DB's coach, this was a game to get them to wake up. So, and even just outside of that interception, I mean, he was flying to the ball, making tackles after the catch, uh, making big plays in coverage as well, sticking with his assignments and, 2 high shells as well. Whenever they had him in single high as well, he looked pretty good. It's a really impressive performance from Byard as well. Obviously, the interception helps, but yeah, both of those guys deserve a lot of credit for how they stepped up against their former team for sure. Uh, Super Bowl Shufflers says Ben assembled the Avengers in his coaching staff, and I mean, I have to agree. Like, I've been really impressed with a lot of aspects of the Bears coaching and how like well disciplined they've been. Like, I'll admit, special teams hasn't been very good this year. This year, I mean, I think Torrey Taylor today against the Eagles was kind of. I mean, he punted like 3 times. He's kind of, he was so. I was hoping for a little bit more out of him. I think the special teams hasn't been great, but the offense has been very good. The defense, all things considered, has been very good. To be able to hold the Eagles to 15 points with how much talent they have on that offense, I mean, Dennis Allen deserves a lot of credit for that. Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon deserve credit for that because you could see that their presence, made that big of a difference in shutting down the Eagles offense for sure. Uh, I mean, you're not keeping, all due respect to Nick McLeod. I mean, not to dump on the guy, but I mean, he wasn't very good in the starting lineup. Granted, he was in a position where he's like the seventh or eighth string cornerback on the Bears. Uh, and he just got promoted due to injuries around him. So I think that's a little unfair, but still, I mean, he's inconsistent. Tyreek Stevenson was out today. Uh, Nashawn Wright, ooh, oh yeah, there you go. So for those of you, just as a quick heads up, I'm probably gonna sneeze a little bit in the show. I have dog allergies, and I have a dog. I'm back at my mom's house for Thanksgiving. Wait, wait. There you go. But yeah, so I've been away from my dog for a little while, and the allergies are coming up. So please bear with me as I'm fighting for my life here, sitting in her basement so I don't disrupt everything. I'm literally a blogger in my mom's basement right now, so if there's any time for you guys to fire off the jokes, it's now. But anyway, the defense deserves a lot of credit, and I think that what Dennis Allen was able to do in generating those takeaways at such a high level with a lot of defensive backs out is impressive, and with some of the linebackers missing time as well, He deserves a lot of credit for that, and just the no quit mentality of these guys. I mean, it really shows when you watch them live, when you watch them on tape, after the fact too. You just see so many instances where they're fighting for extra yards, they're fighting to, they're engaging in gang tackles and stuff like that. So it's a want to win that the Bears haven't seen on their roster in a long time. So I got to give a lot of credit to them. As Riley says in the chat too, only holding Barkley 56 yards of that defense DA is amazing. I mean, yeah, he averaged 4.3 yards per carry against the Bears. That's decent, but not great. It's hardly the offensive player of the year caliber of numbers that he was putting up last year. And yeah, I mean, I think Kevin Patullo might secretly be in Al Qaeda, but at the same time, you're looking at an offense with so much raw talent that naturally you have to fear that unit. And I think that the Bears defense outcoached the Eagles offense. I think the Bears offense outcoached the Eagles defense. That plays such a big role in everything. And even if the passing attack wasn't super effective, it didn't matter because the run game was, because the run defense was, because they were able to do decent enough in coverage. And outside of some garbage time numbers the Eagles got, they weren't really able to do much through the passing attack as well. Uh, yeah, I mean, literally, AJ Brown had 10 catches for 132 yards and two touchdowns. A lot of, some of that production did come in garbage time. So I kind of, you keep that, you take that with a grain of salt. He had a good game for sure, but not all of it was in, like a true traditional setting. Devontae Smith, 5 catches for 48 yards. Other than that, nobody had more than 2 catches all game. Uh, as I adjust myself here, I have my See, this is the fun of live TV. They're live streaming. I'm doing this on my laptop with nothing else, and you all are tuning in otherwise, which I love. I thank you guys. I'm dying with allergies, and I've got my laptop on my lap with a pillow on it. So this is hardly ESPN caliber production, but I mean we're having a good time here, and there's a lot of exciting things to talk about. So I appreciate you guys. Derek also says Nashawn Wright needs to be a top priority to re-sign before he hits free agency. I'd be curious to see what everybody thinks about bringing back Nashawn Wright because I mean Tyreek Stevenson obviously was hurt. He was hurt today and he didn't play. So that meant Nashawn Wright was outside at cornerback. Jalen Johnson came in. Kyler Gordon came back. So Wright was that other starting outside cornerback. Uh, I'm curious to see what they do because Stevenson has been quite effective some games. He's been effective in coverage in some games, and he's been a complete liability in others. There's been just a pretty big discrepancy as far as what the highs look like and what the lows look like. I don't know if that's the type of guy you want to sign an extension to. Nashawn Wright, I think, is also pretty inconsistent at this stage. I mean, you see a handful of plays of him getting torched in coverage. I mean, like the first AJ Brown touchdown that he scored. You got to see that was Wright got beat pretty bad on that. And he's good for a couple of those a game, but he's also a playmaker with, yeah, again, in that kind of Trayvon Diggs mold where he's got great ball skills, he's got a large wingspan, he's got, very good body control. He's a great athlete for his size. He makes plays on the ball. And I think that, he's now second in the NFL in interceptions. He had that forced fumble on the tush push, which was huge. Because the Eagles were moving on that drive. The Eagles were really moving on that drive, and the Bears just, Nashawn Wright just came in, stripped that ball, and derailed all their momentum. So that was massive. I mean, I'm really curious to see what they do with their secondary this free agency. If they extend Nashawn, because they also have Kevin Byard to re-sign, Jaquan Brisker to re-sign if they want to do that as well. I think they'll be in the market for one new starting safety. I don't know if it's going to be Byard or Brisker. I'd keep Byard because, I mean, I know he's older, but he's been a lot better this year, I feel like. So curious what you guys think about that, but also curious about what the Bears actually end up doing in that regard. So should be interesting. And then yeah, Cthulhu Hoop in the YouTube chat says we're gonna have to make a decision with the secondary at some point. We can't afford to keep everyone. And I'm with you. And I think that uh I think that some of the guys that they have injured right now actually will help out a little bit with that. So say if you don't re-sign Nashawn Wright, I think that having Terrell Smith and Zay Frazier ideally coming back would be huge. Uh, Safety, you don't really have that luxury. You don't have as much depth. It's not so much of, oh, these guys are hurt. It's just we don't really have too many experienced, quality depth safeties there. So yeah, I mean, I think the safety position is one that I'm going to focus on, that I'm going to focus on in free agency and in the draft as well. Uh, and we'll see exactly how that turns out. Papa Scarb, shout out to you as well in the YouTube chat, my guy. Appreciate seeing you in here as well. Uh, Super Bowl Shuffler says every week it's becoming more clear that Loveland is the best pass catcher on this offense. I mean, I'm loving what I've seen out of Colston Loveland the last couple weeks. And this week was no exception. I mean, look, 3 catches for 28 yards. That's not going to be like a holy crap, this guy's insane sort of stat line. It's not a this is like prime. This is like Brock Bowers, top of the league, production right now. But I think the tape is going to be a lot kinder to Colston Loveland than even the stat sheet is. He's athletic. He's got really good ball skills. He's got strong hands. I think the streak is still alive. Knock on wood that he hasn't dropped a single target all year. And there's the one grab on the out route that he had where it was away from I think it was an out route. It was an out route or a flat. It was something towards the sidelines. I don't remember. But he made the grab away from his frame. It was in a tight window, and he just secured the grab with a defender right on him, picked up the first down. That's a really nice play. And when you factor in that, you factor in the ball skills he has, the athleticism, the fluidity across the middle of the field. I mean, it's really uh, encouraging to think about how high that ceiling is with Colston Loveland. So I don't know if I'd say he's the best pass catcher on this offense yet. I think by the end of the year, there's a chance that he is. I think by the end of next year, there's certainly a chance that he is. You're really seeing why the Bears took him with a 10th overall pick. And it's, when you take a tight end that early, you need them to contribute right away. And Loveland's been able to do that. These last few weeks have been really strong from him. And even if the yardage, 28 yards today, wasn't insane against the Eagles, it was still pretty good. And I think the plays that he did make were really, really encouraging. So my dad, Steve Infante, here in the chat, Swift and Monangai just put up the fourth best running back duo performance in NFL history with 255 yards combined. So that is really impressive. I know my dad he texted me that too, assuming with the permission to tweet it. So I'll post that here in a sec. But that's really nuts. Think of all the dynamic running back duos there have been in the NFL over the years, not just recently with like Swift and Monangai, but you go back to like D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, guys like that. I don't know. That's the first running back duo. Marshall Falk and Steven Jackson at their peak. I'm sure I could go on and on and on. I'm just naming the ones off the top of my head. Like I think of like top running back duos. So for Swift and Monangai to have the fourth most rushing yards for a running back duo in NFL history is remarkable. So, uh, yeah, Cthulhu Hoop mentioned. I think you mean Kamara Ingram, but yes, Alvin Kamara, early career, and Mark Ingram with the New Orleans Saints. That's another incredible duo as well. So yeah, it just goes to show that if Monangai and Swift put the fourth best running back duo performance in the NFL together today, it was unbelievable. So, uh, Brian Reddick, Jacob, you're the man. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. I'm all about the sidebar. Let's get your thoughts on Malort. someone you guys are gonna hate me for this. I've never tried Malort before. Swear to God. So I don't know what it tastes like. I know it's a rite of passage for Chicago. I know it's like a big sin if you never tried Malort. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's crossed my mind when I've been out at bars a couple times, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't hate myself. I don't want to die today. Uh so that's why I've kind of avoided Malort, but as soon as I think I'll have to do like a live drink review of Malort whenever that comes out. So, uh unfortunately, I don't have anything for you there. But that's one thing I'm not looking forward to trying it. I'm looking forward to getting it out of the way because I know I'm going to have it at some point. It's a Chicago rite of passage, but as of right now, no, I have not tried Malort, which is insane. Cthulhu Hoop says it's very smooth and strong, a deadly combo. So it's good to know. Matt says, yeah, Malort murdered me on Blackout Wednesday. I am so sorry. I feel like if you're having Malort more than once, yeah, I feel like you got to have a death wish, right? Like just off of what I've heard and what I've seen, like you can watch like reaction videos of people trying Malort for the first time. Like everyone looks like they want to die. Like nobody is happy drinking Malort. Like you drink it, I mean because it's tradition. You drink it because it's part of being in Chicago. But no, nobody. I don't think anybody enjoys Malort. I think if you do, you're probably a terrorist. So anyway, there you go. Riley in the Twitter chat says, fired Matt Eberflus on Black Friday. A year later, 9-3. Crazy a difference a year makes. And I'm with you right there. I mean, just to think yesterday too. Uh, Yesterday was Thanksgiving. That was when the Chicago Bears had that disgusting performance against the Lions, where Eberflus forgot to use his timeout, wind the clock down. They Caleb threw an incomplete pass. That was the game right there. It was just atrocious coaching in every sense of the word. And going into that, going into it this year, going into Thanksgiving this year, the Bears were 8-3 at the top of the NFC North. And now Black Friday, last year the Bears fired Matt Eberflus, and this year they defeated the defending Super Bowl champions, and they're now 9-3, which is pretty exciting. Uh, it just goes to show too, like how quickly things can turn around in the NFL, honestly. And I think a lot of it came down to the Bears had talent on their roster. They were playing in a lot of close games last year. They were just losing all of them. Now they're playing in a lot of close games this year and they're winning all of them. I don't remember who had the original tweet, but somebody said along the lines of there are steps in an NFL rebuild. You go getting blown out in games is the first one. Then you go to lose a lot of close games is the second, win a lot of close games is the third, and then dominate in games is the fourth. The Bears are in that third stage right now. And I think that shows a lot of growth from last year to this year. A lot of it comes down to Ben Johnson and the rest of this coaching staff. The offensive line deserves a lot of credit. The skill players deserve credit for how they've developed over the year too. Uh, I know this was hardly Caleb Williams' best game. And I mean, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what the All 22 says about his performance because on first glance, it didn't look all that pretty. I don't know exactly if it was a matter of just guys weren't open. I know there were a couple times Luther slipped once on an incompletion, DJ Moore slipped once on an incompletion. So there's a little bit of inconsistency in that regard, but I'm curious to see exactly what happened with the passing attack there, but for the most part, it's improved this year compared to last year. The run game's improved compared to this year. The pass protection's gotten better. The the pass rush, I don't know. It's still a little bit of a weakness, but the takeaways have improved. The run defense has improved. It says a lot. It says a lot about just how well coached this organization is. So, uh, people call him. Let's see. Bears fans since 1984 in UK. Dave Fassam, by the way, in the Twitter chat says the ability to remain calm in the stretch is so good to see from this team. I'm absolutely with you. I think that it's a big difference this year compared to last season, where you're seeing in the face of adversity just what this team is made of, what this culture is made of. I think last year you're seeing a lot of guys where this is, it's just a paycheck to them. They show up, they play the game, and then they leave. There wasn't any real spark last year. There wasn't any real spark for most of Matty Eberflus's time with Chicago. But now you're seeing, and it shows up in the little things too. It shows up in how competitive the defensive line looks and how they string together moves at the point of attack, how hard they fight to get to the quarterback. It shows the defenders in pursuit in space, how hard they work to get to the ball carrier, how they work on gang tackles to, make plays and wrap up. How the skill position players on offense, how they battle through contact for extra yards, how the offensive linemen pitch in and then, push from behind to help their teammates pick up a few extra yards. Uh, Remaining calm in the stretch and trying harder. It's two things that it's like, yeah, they seem like no brainers, to people like us sitting on sitting in the stands, sitting on the couch, what have you. Uh, but it's two things that the Bears have really embraced this year, and I think that that's made a big difference. In why they're winning these games instead of losing these games. So a lot of credit goes to those guys. Uh, let's see, Cthulhu Hoop. Caleb didn't play great today either, and we still won handily. I think that's reassuring. I think that's reassuring about the environment he's being developed in. So I'm absolutely with you. Let's see. I just got a notification. Hold on. It said Ben Johnson took his shirt off. My dad just texted me that. Is that true? Hold on. Bear with me for just a second here. I need to see, did Ben Johnson just really take his shirt off in the press conference? Did I Is that true? Let's see. I'm going through as we speak. I'm going through the YouTube questions. Oh my god. Oh my lord. He took it off in the locker room. All right. Okay. All right. They're showing it. They're showing it right now. Yeah. So I'm here with my family for Thanksgiving right now. My younger brother is home for Thanksgiving, and I'm with my mom right now. They're both coming at me. My dad's calling on the phone right now too. Everyone's like, "Hey, check it out. Ben Johnson's taking his shirt off right now." So, uh, oh my lord, I have to find that video. I have to find that video. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Sorry, bear with me, guys, here for just a second. Uh, I need to see this video. I'm gonna retweet it if you guys can see it. Uh, oh my god. Oh my god. Here we go. That's pretty sick. They just showed on Fox. He's going nuts. His shirt's off as they're doing the good better best thing. Uh, Holy shit, that's awesome. All right, sorry for that. I just retweeted. I found somebody reposted that like the clip that just showed on Fox. I'm sure that whenever the Bears actually tweet that out, it's gonna be uh pretty sick. Uh, Here we go. I gotta love it. You have to love just how fired up this culture is, and fired up this coaching staff has these players. We'll talk to Cthulhu Hoop because some Steven guy says go to YouTube questions. Twitter fucking hates you. Uh, I can read the comments. It's only you. It's you and one guy. Twitter does not hate me. You're the only one. So get some fucking, I don't know, get laid. But he says Jacob Infante is insufferable listening right now, acting like he's the Bears whisperer. He'll talk shit about Caleb any chance he gets. All right. I'll bring up Cthulhu Hoop from the YouTube here because I think that this is a much more nuanced take than, oh, he'll talk shit about Caleb. If you think that, then I'm sorry. You're just not very smart. Like it's just really what it is. And it's a matter of reading comprehension. Look, I don't think it's not talking shit about Caleb. It's criticizing when he can be doing better. I don't think he had a good game today. Is that the biggest of my concerns right now? Absolutely not. The Bears are 9-3. They just beat the defending Super Bowl champions by 9 points. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to be excited about. Ben Johnson has this team going nuts right now, and they're competing for every single they're competing for every single yard that they can possibly get. Uh, the fact that Caleb didn't have a great game today is the least of my concerns. It's something to bring up. It's something that if you want to be matter of fact and you want to look at things through not navy blue and orange colored glasses, then yeah, you can say Caleb didn't have a great game today. I mean, 17 for 36, that's sub 50% completion percentage. He threw confusing interception. He got sacked twice. The sacks I'm not so much worried about, but it wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good game for him. But the Bears ran the ball incredibly well. And they covered extremely well. They defended the run right there. So uh yeah, I can't say necessarily that Caleb played a great game. It's not the biggest of my concerns, but at the same time, it's something that, hey, if you want to be an actual analyst and you actually want to break things down, you can't say, oh, everything's sunshine and rainbows. You can only defend the wind so much. You can only say, oh, it's windy. The best quarterbacks make plays in that, in those conditions. Caleb had the one touchdown, but more often than not was air mailing throws or hitting it in the dirt. Look, I don't want to be the negative Nancy. And Cthulhu who mentions too, Caleb had a few incredible runs. I'm glad that you're actually looking at a Cthulhu Hoop in the YouTube chat. I'm glad that you're actually looking at things through uh, a realistic lens. Steven, do not categorize yourself as an analyst. It's my job title, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like they gave it to me. It's my job. I get paid to do that. So I don't know who Steven is. Someone. Let's see. I'm trying to find out who this Steven guy is because he's bleeding out of his whatever right now. But anyway, Riley says, Caleb is good but needs work, but I believe Ben Johnson will get it right. I think that's the most important thing you need to take away from this right now. The most important thing is that the coaching staff that the Bears have is a situation where the players can succeed and they can grow. And for the most part, everybody has. A lot of players have gotten better from week one compared to later in the season. And look, is everything at full potential of where I think it can be? Absolutely not. I think any objective, clear minded Bears fan will tell you the same thing. But they're winning games. That's the most important thing right now. And it shows that coaching can make that much of a difference on your roster when you're consistently winning games. You have a lot of the same players in most positional groups, a lot of the same players as last year. The offensive line is different. That's definitely playing a big role in why the Bears are much better right now. But the defense is better with a lot of the same guys. A lot of guys hurt. The offense is more effective because of, heavily because of play calling as well. Uh, and the offensive line performance. I mean, the run game is, DeAndre Swift he's been a lot better this year than he was last year. Kyle Monangai has been fantastic for a late round addition. I mean, I I believe in Ben Johnson. And I think that if there's one thing to take away from this game against the Eagles, from the winning streak as a whole, I'm getting hold on. From this winning streak, from the fact that they've won 9 games in the last 10 weeks, or the last 10 games rather, uh, it shows a lot about the heart of this team and the culture that Ben Johnson is setting. And it shows up in how the guys are improving from a technical perspective, from a decision making perspective, but also in the fact of how these guys fight. It's not a giving up Eberflus sort of vibe in the locker room anymore. Let's see. Rob, mistakes were made. They were absolutely ripped apart on the mistakes were made, but they absolutely ripped apart the defense. Uh, mistakes were made. I can't read today. Sorry. But they absolutely ripped the Eagles apart on defense and offense. I think that a lot of it shows up in the trenches, and you can say whatever you want about the Bears pass rush. I mean, sure they weren't able to sack Jalen Hurts at all today. ESPN only has him credited for one quarterback hit. That was CJ Gardner Johnson on a blitz. Uh, but I think in the trenches, the run defense did a really good job. I mean, especially you're seeing guys like DeMarco Jackson flying to the ball. That the defensive linemen are eating up gaps, and it's providing opportunities. They're taking a lot of that attention away from the offensive linemen and allowing the linebackers to roam around in space and make plays. I think you saw a lot of that with the Eagles. So, or against the Eagles, I should say. So I think the trenches that played such a big role in why the Bears won this game. Truly, uh, got to give them a lot of credit, honestly. Uh, and yeah, I mean the offensive line in itself too. It wasn't just the run blocking, although the run blocking I'd say was better than the pass blocking. Uh, Still, it was pretty impressive to see. For the most part, they kept Caleb Williams upright. Obviously there were two sacks. There were some instances. I'd say Ozzie Trapillo on first glance looked better in not to say he didn't look better than last week, but he looked better than Theo Benedict. This week, off of what I was able to see, Ozzie performed better than Theo typically has on a week to week basis this season. So obviously it wasn't perfect from Ozzie. I think I'm looking forward to seeing what the all 22 says. And, once I break that down, I'll have, feedback accordingly. Uh, I know there's obviously the one play where Ozzie got beat. I don't remember who exactly it was, but uh, if you watched the game, you saw the replay, you probably know which one I'm talking about. So, but the offensive line, the pass protection itself, was nothing short of impressive. The pass protection, the run blocking in particular, and I got to give credit to guys like Cole Kmet. I got to give credit to guys like Colston Loveland. I mean, they've really stepped it up as far as run blocking goes. So, and you can see even like Roma Dunze too. The perimeter weapons are trying hard. Luther Burden's had a couple plays as a run blocker this year where I watch on tape and I go, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." It's like that was pretty damn good. And it's the whole cliche, the no block, no rock thing. It's you can say as many mottos as you want, but I think there's a difference between having mottos, having acronyms, having all that, coach speak and actually living it. I think that with the hits principle that Eberflus had, the Bears weren't living it. They weren't. I mean, they were taking away the ball. They were taking away the ball for a little bit there, but at a certain point they were just kind of giving up. And it was I don't know. It's like, all right, you're not getting the full execution of this vision of what, because when you have an acronym, when you have a saying, when you have a phrase, like people are going to hold you to that. People held Eberflus to the hits phrase. Uh, didn't live up to the hype. No block, no rock. However, we're seeing that this year with Ben Johnson. We're seeing that the guys that are putting out the most effort. Odunze, Loveland. I mean, even Komet, even if he's not like consistently at being targeted as much as he's been like earlier in his career, he led the Bears in receiving today. He had 36 yards, he had a touchdown. And I think even when you have Colston Loveland playing as well as he has, they're still carving out a niche for Cole Kmet. They're still carving out a role for him. And he's trying his ass off as a run blocker. He's doing a solid job after the catch. He's fighting for extra yards. He deserves a lot of credit for that. Uh, anyway, We're gonna take a quick break here. I have a special message from the folks at Second City Gridiron here. Uh, if you're listening here on the YouTube channel, if you're then make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to check out the Second City Gridiron Facebook page as well. Check out my Twitter page at Jacob Infante 24. You can check me out there as well. And on uh hold on, let me pull this up. I'm still figuring out how to make all this work. All right, so you guys can see on the ticker here, but the Second City Gridiron website has 18% off everything on the website starting on Black Friday and all through Cyber Monday. So if you go to the Second City Gridiron channel, it's second. Hold on, it popped up on my last. I have two tabs open. So it's second city gridiron shop.fourthwall.com. You can check it out in the YouTube in the bio on the YouTube page as well. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, hats, drinkware for all your favorite shows. For even if you're not a fan of mine, like this Steven and Jeremy Summers guy in the bio. If you're not a fan of my show, then that's okay. You have plenty of merchandise for Bears Over Beers. You have for Bear and Balance, the Mac and Reed Show, Bears Banter, Bare Bones, Making Monsters. All the work, all the great work. T formation conversation. We have a lot of great work that Second City Gridiron does. That's not just me. So if you're one of those people who aren't a big fan of me, uh, then you can absolutely take this opportunity to buy it for yourself, buy it for the other Bears fans in your life, uh, to buy some merchandise, and it also supports people on the Second City Gridiron channel who they bust their ass for you guys, and I think that I'm admittedly biased because I'm a part of it, but I'm very grateful to be a part of the group that I'm in right now. So it's code holiday 18 for 18% off everything on the Second City Gridiron merchandise page, starting on Black Friday today and all the way through Cyber Monday. So if you're listening to this after the fact, after it goes live on Spotify, on iTunes, wherever you listen and get your podcasts, if you're listening to this after the live stream, then it's probably not too late. So use that promo code holiday18 for 18% off everything on the Second City Gridiron page. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, obviously. And I want to take a look at what the rest of the season is going to consist of. So I'm going to pull up. This might be a little bit longer of a happy ending. It's going to take me a little bit longer to get this one out to conclude my happy ending all over your faces and in your mouths. Sorry. But I want to look at what the rest of the season is going to look like. So you're now winners of 5 games in a row. You've got the Packers next Sunday at Lambeau Field. And keep in mind that's a game you won last year off a game-winning field goal. The Bears are a much better team than they were last year. The Packers are also, I'd argue, a better team than they were last year. They're coming off, the Bears have a long week to prepare for this, but the Packers do too. I mean, pretty convincingly, they pretty convincingly handled the Lions. Uh, and then now you're going into a matchup against the Bears. I can tell you that that's going to be a game that those guys are going to circle. They're going to be really, looking forward to exercising those demons, so to speak. But the remaining 5 games of the season: Green Bay, Cleveland, Green Bay, San Francisco, Detroit. So that's 5. Again, I'm using my fingers because I'm a child. Uh, they're 1 win away from double-digit wins, and that I think that is massive because you have that Cleveland game. I mean, anything can happen, right? Myles Garrett's playing at a defensive player of the year level season. That defense is really limiting some talented offenses in the NFL right now. That offense isn't great, though. That's a game in theory the Bears should win. Maybe they lose. I don't know. I'd argue they should have beat Tyler Huntley. They lost there. but I'd also argue they should have lost this game and they won. That just goes to show anything can happen in the NFL. Uh, if you go 2-5 even in the next 3 games, that's an 11-6 record. That's 11 wins, and uh, since they expanded the playoffs to, include a seventh seed, to include a third wild card team, no team that's ever had 11 wins has missed the playoffs. The last 11 win team to make the playoffs, or to miss the playoffs, I think was the Patriots, the Matt Castle year, that when Tom Brady got hurt, tore his ACL the first game of the year. So since they've expanded the playoffs, an 11 win team has made the playoffs every single year. So that just means if you split against the Packers, even, I don't think they're going to sweep Green Bay. That's a really good team. Uh, they haven't swept Green Bay in God knows how long. I'm not getting my hopes up for that. But if you can win one of those games, then you can probably afford to lose to Detroit, to San Francisco. And then if you beat Cleveland, that's 11 wins right there. Obviously, you'd love to have more. This wasn't a game I was necessarily expecting them to win, but they won. So this is it's like seriously a pleasant surprise. Uh, Last year, though, I mean, the Seahawks went 10-7. They missed the playoffs. So I think the divisional games, if they can win one of those, if they can win two of those, that's going to be massive for tiebreakers, for playoff seeding, what have you. But taking a look at the rest of the NFC North, I mean, the Packers have a really tough schedule. They face the Bears twice. They have Denver, Baltimore, and Minnesota. Uh, they're a half game out of first place right now, but they're playing at Denver. That's another team who's been winning a lot of really close games, but they have an incredible defense and they've done a phenomenal job with closing out in the fourth quarter when it matters most. And you're playing them at Denver, so you have the higher elevation, you have the sea level adjustments that you need to get to. Baltimore, I mean, this week aside, wasn't very good on where they weren't very good on Thanksgiving against the Bengals. They're playing better football than they were earlier in the year, though, so you got to give them credit for that. Uh, but anyway, that's not an easy schedule. That's not a walk in the park. The Detroit Lions now are 7-5. They've got the Red Hot Cowboys next week. They've got the Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears. Now, the Cowboys and Rams should be pretty difficult. Bears should be a lot more difficult. I mean, this isn't the same team that they blew out 52-21 in the second week of the season. This is uh, a much more polished team, a much more prepared team. Like they're more comfortable in Ben Johnson's system on both, and with Dennis Allen's system on the defensive side of the ball too. Uh, and you also have the fact that they're going to Soldier Field now, that it's going to be played on their home field. There's obviously a lot to be uh, encouraged about there. Again, I don't know if they win that. I'd lean towards no, but time and time again, there are times where it's like, oh, maybe the Bears shouldn't have. I don't know if the Bears are going to win this one. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it out. And they do. The Steelers, it looked like at times that was a game that they weren't going to be able to win. They pulled out the victory. Cincinnati, obviously, you guys know how crazy that game ended up being. They picked up the win there. Philadelphia, things were looking bleak at one point. Going into the third quarter, things were 10-9, and Philadelphia they were moving the ball down the field. They had a lot of the momentum, but the Bears, with that fourth quarter drive, Kyle Monangai, 87 yards, 6 minutes, 44 seconds. Really, really impressive to be able to hold on to the ball for that long, score a touchdown, milk the clock out. I think that's something that Ben Johnson does incredibly well. So, keep that up, man. I mean, you've got one of the best running back duos in the league with Swift and Monangai. It's a really exciting thing to think about where this Bears team could be, because this wasn't a game I was expecting them to win. This wasn't a game I don't think a lot of people were expecting them to win. Maybe, there were definitely some Bears fans who were saying, this is a game they could win. Obviously they did. So when you have all that in consideration now, this win provided the Bears with an opportunity to uh, take a deep breath, just let out a sigh, and just be like, all right, there's still a lot of football left to play. Still games that you need to win if you're going to make the playoffs. But this makes the road a lot easier. And I think if you get 11 wins, I think you're in. The Packers have been very good for the most part. The Lions, coming off a down game, they've been good this year for the most part. But I think the Lions don't have the same momentum they had earlier in the year. The 49ers, I never really know with them. They could beat anybody, they could lose to anybody. The Lions have lost 2 of their last 3 games, and they have a tough schedule. The Packers are doing well, but they have a tough schedule as well. And you've seen with their loss to the Panthers, with their super close game against they lost to the Browns. Even I know it was earlier in the year, but they lost to the Browns. They lost to the Panthers. These are losable games. Uh, if you're Green Bay, you're looking at those 2 Bears games, Denver and Baltimore. Those are losable games if you're Green Bay. I don't think they're going to lose all of them for sure. I think that's too talented of a team to do that. But hell yeah, hell yeah. I think that's the best I can say right now. The best I can wrap it up. The Bears have won 5 games in a row. They're now 9-3. It's the first time since 2018 that the Bears have a winning record. That's the most important thing to be excited about. Uh, it's a good year no matter what. All right, so they could lose every other game the rest of the year. I'd be bummed for sure because they've been playing really good football lately. But in the end, I'd be like, okay, yeah, 9-8, that's fine. That's about where my expectations were. Maybe I predicted 9-8 at the beginning of the year. They're already at 9-3. So any other wins for the rest of the season is a step up, in my opinion. Uh, but why settle? Why be like, oh, well, we can win 1 game and still make the playoffs. We can win 2 games and still make the playoffs. Why settle? Let's close out. Let's win 1 or 2 of those divisional NFC North games. Let's beat the Browns. Let's beat the 49ers. None of those games are you're going into it with, oh, yeah, the Bears are absolutely going to lose that game. They're going to be tough. They're going to be difficult, but none of them are going to be impossible to win by any means. And I think that that's what's the most exciting thing about this Bears roster, about this Bears team that's coached up by this current staff, is every game feels like a game they could win. And I don't know. That's refreshing, in my opinion. So that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for tuning in to wrap it up. I've been Jacob Infante. Make sure to follow me on Twitter/X. Do whatever you got to do. At Jacob Infante 24. Check out the Second City Gridiron page on YouTube, the channel there, and the page on Facebook. I got the notification. Paul Sizer. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. I apologize, but I saw you came in with the love, the heart on the Facebook page as well. I appreciate that. So thank you very much for tuning in. And thank you to everybody for tuning in on X, on YouTube, on Facebook. Still very grateful to say that this is at least on Twitter, the most watched post game stream on the entire website for the Chicago Bears. So that's pretty sweet. It's not lost upon me. So thank you all. Uh, Tune in next week. I mean, it's going to be interesting. The Bears play the Packers next week. That's going to be a big one. It's the first of their 2 matchups. They play them 2 times in 3 weeks. We'll see how it goes. But for now, celebrate the Bears' 5th win in a row. They're 9th in the last 10 games. Oh my God. It's pretty sweet. So your Chicago Bears are 9-3. We're going to wrap it up with that. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in. This has been Jacob Infante of Windy City Gridiron and the Second City Gridiron podcast network. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Bear the fuck down.